What's up, crew? CptAshes here, coming to you on this beautiful rainy morning in Missouri. I live in Missouri. Anyways, this is another car vlog, and a lot has happened recently, like a whole lot. The last time we spoke, I had like 1,000, maybe 1,500 miles on the car. I am now up to 4,181 miles. Yeah, I've been driving a little bit, just a tiny, itsy bitsy, whole hell of a lot of a bit. There was a road trip and all sorts of stuff. So let me catch you up on things. First of all, I have not been posting very much, and the reason for that, there are many. The first of which is I have a new job, and I'm loving it, and it's been keeping me very, very busy. It's why I'm dressed so fancily today. I've been getting up every morning at 5:20, okay, not every morning, but every weekday morning at 5:20 and going and working out at the gym. Yeah. What I've noticed, oddly enough, it was very hard to get into this routine at first, but now that I'm in it, it's kind of simple. What I've noticed is that on the days where I go and I work out, I will be just as tired at about like 2 p.m. As the days where I did not get up at 5:20 in the morning and work out for an hour. So, I don't know, it ends up being pretty awesome getting up early in the morning and working out, which I was totally against because, I don't know, that seems like such a mature adult thing to do, and I don't want to do that stuff. But yeah, it's working out pretty great. That way, you know, when I get home from work, I don't have to work out because I don't want to, and I don't, and I'm not gonna. But I feel great. I'm getting back in shape, which is good. So that's been keeping me super busy, and also means I'm going to bed at like 10:30 or 11, or I'm supposed to. Let's see if we can get some speed here. Wow, that was exactly the speed limit. Pretty fancy that. So I took a trip to Toronto, Canada in this, which is why I had about 2,000 miles and I ended up completely doubling it by going to Toronto. So why, you might ask, did you bother going to Toronto, Captain? Was this some sort of planned event? No, actually, my fiance came to me one day and she was like, hey, let's do something stupid. And so I immediately thought she was talking about going to Idaho. Because potatoes. She said, hey, let's do something stupid. So I immediately thought she was talking about joining the Republican Party. She said, hey, let's do something stupid. So I immediately thought she was talking about, I don't know, it's 7 in the morning. I don't have anything right now. She said, let's do something stupid, and I said, okay, sure. Because I'm like that. I like doing stupid things. And she suggested that we go to Philadelphia and check out, like, you know, the Hall of Independence and Rocky. And I really wanted to see the set of Always Sunny. I actually really want to go there. I want to go to Patty's Pub. But I retorted with, or why don't we go to Canada? Because I don't want to drive in Philly. And that's pretty much the gist of it. I'm not ready to drive this thing in the big city yet. So I was like, why don't we actually go to Canada for a first trip? You know, it'll be mostly road, which will be nice, and then we'll get there and we'll stay in a hotel and we can just use the public transportation that they have there. So we decided to go to Toronto. And that trip was very long. I took Friday off, so we left Friday at 4 a.m. and got in at about, we didn't get to the hotel until like 9 or 10, but that's because we took the long way through Ohio to go up to Niagara. So we actually went to Niagara Falls first, which I'm going to have pictures of all this up on my Twitter page. So by the time this video goes up, they should be up. If they're not up, let me know, and I will put them up there. But we went to Niagara Falls, which was amazing. I was not at all excited about it. You know, I grew up in Arizona. I wasn't far from the Grand Canyon, so I saw that plenty of times. And, you know, once you've seen it once, you're there for like 5 minutes, and you're like, okay, all right, we can go now. Niagara Falls was very, very cool. So we were supposed to cross the Canadian border south of Buffalo, down where it's like not very crowded. Instead, the GPS got all mixed up, and so we ended up crossing in Niagara Falls City. There's a Niagara Falls City, New York, and a Niagara Falls City, Canada. And that took like 2 hours. We got there at, I don't know, 5 p.m. or something, right during rush hour when everybody's trying to go home, you know, go back to Canada. And that took so freaking long. We're just sitting there, not moving, waiting to go through customs. Funny observation, the customs to get, or not the customs, but the border to get into Canada, they've got like a guy in a booth, and they look at your papers, they ask you some questions, they want to make sure that, you know, you're welcome to come into Canada, but please go home when you're done. Don't just stay here. And that was pretty much it. And we're looking at the crossing station for the border for the United States going back. And there's every station, every like row that you can go through has a set of cameras on a little pillar for all sides of the car, okay? And on this pillar with cameras, there's like 6 cameras. I mean, they have every possible angle of your car. They've got like cameras underneath it. It's crazy. It's so crazy. Just the amount of like security going from Canada to the United States, it's insane. So anyways, we go through and we stop off in Niagara Falls, and it was incredible. It looked super cool, especially, okay, right where, if you're looking at where the falls go over, the Canadian side is much better than the American side. You have much better views. You can actually see a bunch of like rapids and stuff on top of it before it goes over, and when it goes over, it turns this like green-blue color. It's so cool. And there's a restaurant, so there's like a visitor center, and inside of it is a restaurant that's like all windows. And you can, it's very expensive, but you can sit there and you can look at the falls while you're eating, and it's just amazing. It is super cool. I wish we had been able to do that. And oddly enough, they are able to keep the glass clean and from getting like fogged and misted up, because you can feel like mist droplets from the falls, oh man, at least 600 feet away. It's crazy the amount of spread that the mist has there. And it's so cool and so pretty. I would definitely go back. And that whole little Niagara Falls City on the Canadian side just looked awesome. There were a bunch of casinos and hotels. It was all very scenic, and I would definitely go back there. So after that, we headed north into Toronto. We were kind of like towards a suburb, but it wasn't really a suburb because I'm pretty sure it's all just Toronto. Maybe I'm wrong on that. And the GPS once again got mistaken and took us to the wrong hotel. It took us to a hotel like in the middle of the city. And so we had to get back on the highway, which people drive surprisingly aggressive up there. Like, it was really aggressive driving. And on the way to the proper hotel, I almost got into an accident. I did not realize my lane was ending. They're very good about putting up signs for when the lanes end, and I noticed them for like every other lane ending, except this one, I did not see a sign. I swear there was not a sign. I'm probably wrong, but I did not notice a sign for that. So my lane's coming to an end very quickly, and there's a dude directly in front of me and directly behind me. So I had about a foot on the passenger side, a foot behind me, and less than a foot in front of me. We were actually like right next to each other, kind of, you know, adjacent, I guess, and I had to like slow down and get behind him, and it just, I narrowly missed an accident in my new car by a foot on all sides. It was crazy. Thankfully, they let me in. That was very nice of them. So everything was fine. And we got to the hotel, and we went to bed because it was like a 14-hour day. It's crazy. So the next day, we head into Toronto, and we get on the train, which they've got a really nice public transportation system up there. So we took the train. It was very nice, very clean, looked new, wasn't. And we went into downtown Toronto, and we walked around a little bit and checked out all the sights and the buildings. We got on the subway, which the subway there was so nice. I've never been on a New York subway, but I've seen movies, which makes me an expert. No, but you see movies, and the seats on a subway are plastic. They got a plastic back, and you know, maybe they're metal, but they're not nice. The seats on here were also plastic, but they had a nice like velvet backing on the back and on the bottom, and there were no burn marks, there were no tear marks, there was nothing. Everything was nice and new and clean, and it was pristine. And it's a subway, it's underground, and then every station had a different theme. So you'd pull up to a different station, and it would be like the St. Patrick's station was green. The whole thing was green. We pulled up to one station, and it was, I think it was like museum station, and all the columns that, you know, support the subway ceiling were decorated like Egyptian pillars or Aztec pillars or like ancient Chinese architecture pillars. It was so cool. It was like going on the Indiana Jones ride at Disney. It was amazing. So we took the subway and we went up to Casa Loma. And Casa Loma is a really cool castle from the late 1800s, I believe. So it's not, you know, like medieval or anything. But it was really cool. Lots of movies have been filmed there. It was really awesome to see. We went through and checked out all the rooms. Crimson Peak was one of the films, which I really like, and that was filmed there. Also, oddly enough, The Pacifier with Vin Diesel, they used the swimming pool from there, which I didn't actually see a swimming pool there, but apparently I missed it. It was in the basement, or it was there. But that was really cool. And after that, we went down to the aquarium, and we saw the Toronto Aquarium. It's actually Ripley's. So, like Ripley's, believe it or not, they host the aquarium or own it, or I don't know, their name's plastered all over it. And that was really cool. And we got to see all sorts of sharks and octopus. Well, there was only one octopus, but a lot of jellyfish, and it just was awesome. So there'll be plenty of pictures of that. And then we had really, really good Irish food. We went to an Irish pub, and I had lamb. I've never had lamb before, and it was pretty good. It was pretty good. I think it messed with my stomach a little bit the next day, but it was very good, and they had live music, and it was, oh man, what was it? Fionn McCool's? I think that was the name of it. So if there's one near you, it's expensive, but it's worth it. Now, the most key element of what I enjoyed about Canada were two things. One, there's a recycling bin on every corner of every street in Toronto. They've got, it's a trash, recycle paper, recycle plastic combo. And you just, they're everywhere. They do that. That's awesome. And the roads were so incredibly amazing in Canada. Holy crap. They were all so smooth and so well paved and just super nice. They were amazing. It was an absolute joy driving in Canada, especially out on the open road. It was amazing. Come back here, we cross over through Detroit, immediately hit a traffic jam, which I don't know what I expected. It's Detroit. That's just going to happen. That's fine. And all of the roads all the way through Indiana and Illinois and Missouri are just awful. I went through at least 3 potholes that were big enough for me to lay in, and it would be at like chest height. I would be flush with the road. Oh my god, I need a front end alignment now just from that last portion of the trip, just from coming home. It made me so upset. So I missed that. Apparently their taxes actually go towards something that's useful up there, which I don't know what we're doing down here, but it sure as hell isn't going to the roads. Anyways, let's talk a bit about the car. So how'd the car do? Well, the car did well. Well, yeah, well, the car did well. Yes, it did. The gas mileage, let's start with that. I averaged about 29 mpg for the whole trip, which was pretty good, honestly. For a Challenger, that's great. Even though it's a V6, I was very, very happy with that. Which is about 46 yeah, 46 miles per, no, 46 kilometers per gallon, but I didn't translate that to liters. It was a significant amount. You can go, what was I doing? I think about 400 to 500 miles per tank. I'd gas up at half tank, and I was going about that, which is great. So didn't have to stop super often to gas up, and it handled really nice. It was smooth. It was a very good ride, except for one thing. After about 3 hours, these seats are painful. So I'm gonna start with the passenger seat. There's no lumbar support whatsoever. I've got a little adjuster on the driver's side where I can adjust the lumbar support. There's nothing for the passenger side. We had to put a pillow back behind my fiance's back, and that was as good as we could get it. It's also not very comfortable for sleeping in. So there's that. My seat was really hurting my back, but I kind of have back problems as it is. The seats just started to feel hard after X amount of time. So after 3 hours, it started to be a little uncomfortable. After like 10 hours, it was just straight painful. So are these seats bad? I would say no. I've been in much more comfortable seats, but most of the seats I've been in, I mean, my old cars were luxury cars. They were old, beater-up, 20-year-old luxury cars, so they had the really nice bench seats, and it was just very comfortable. It wasn't meant to hold you while you're going really fast and doing, you know, hard turns and stuff. So these seats are just fine until you get onto a long trip. I would recommend bringing a pillow, or maybe even a blanket to put on there and kind of cushion it a bit. So, let's see what else. I got a lot of bugs on the car, specifically through one section in Illinois. It's like 1,000 bugs. They were just everywhere. None the rest of the trip, which was great. But oh my god, I've washed the car since I got back. It's currently raining, and I still have bugs on my freaking car. They're still there. They're like that now. I think they've become one with the paint. Also did a lot of wet driving. There was a significant amount of rain up and down. Ended up being about a 26-hour round trip, just the driving parts. And I would say at least 16 of that was rain, which was nice, you know. It was nice and cloudy. I had the sunroof open and wasn't burning, you know, because I'm a ginger and I will fry in the sun. So that was really pleasant, and I did not lose traction at all, which I was very pleased about. I know the Hellcat, you can't even keep it on the road when it's wet. Obviously, this is the V6, so it's much more watered down. Watered? Okay. But I didn't get any wheel slip, which was great. I was very happy about that. It handled just fine in the wet weather. And since I've gotten back, I've noticed a couple times I'll actually get some wheel slip if I try and pull out too fast on a turn when I'm at a stoplight, or if I'm going straight even. But generally, that's based more on the heaviness of my foot than the wetness of the road. So that was very nice. Alright, this one's probably starting to run a little long here, and I'm actually running out of battery. I better do something about that. So I'm going to cut it off here.